Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes, we're back again. Another week of Monday Night Football.
Another week of football.
What would you have worn if the Niners lost?
Say that again?
That's a good question.
I like how our special guest is already chiming in.
Before I could even introduce him. Jeez.
And you know what? If the Niners lost, which would have never happened, a 99.9% chance that would not have happened. But if they did lose, I still would have wore this jersey because of the fact that it's one game. They weren't going to lose. They weren't
Okay.
I'm joking.
Let her.
This is going to be
You
a guys show.
Yes, it is.
Say please.
No, it won't. I am your host, Christina Kaplan. Aside from my wonderful panel here, we have a very special guest joining us tonight.
Yes.
Guys, introduce yourselves, and then I will introduce our special guest.
Thaddeus Massey.
Today, I am known as
geez.
Jerry Rice, number 80, also known as Kevin John. But Rice today, happy birthday, Jerry Rice, 52.
He is 52. I'll give you that, even though it looks like a Victor Cruz jersey. But hey, guys, I'm Stef Z.
And our special guest, Bram Hoover, who's got a brand new football movie, 23Blast, coming out October 24th.
That's right.
Bram, tell us a little bit about your movie.
23Blast is the true story of Travis Freeman. Travis is the first known blind football player, and he went blind overnight. He was 13 when it happened. He got a really rare case of meningitis, and lost his eyesight overnight, and he played center. And I actually went to high school with Travis. He was a senior when I was...
In real life?
Yes, in real life.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's
So
why...
did they know that when you went in for the casting? That you, or how did you get cast?
I wrote the
this-
movie.
Yeah.
That's how he sealed the deal.
No.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you got in through the back. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No,
Yes.
he created it. Oh my gosh. Well, that's a really inspiring story. And I hear also that you grew up playing football your whole life.
I did.
So did you play with Travis?
I did play with Travis. He was a senior when I was a freshman, so I was unfortunately on the sidelines as a freshman, but I got to see it firsthand. Pretty crazy to see, you know.
So that's awesome. So being that you wrote the movie, that's why, because sometimes when people write the movie, they cast themselves as the lead.
Right.
And I know you're one of the leads, but you're not actually the player that goes blind.
Right.
So
He's a smart
because
Yeah.
no, but because you witnessed it, you more so wanted to tell it from your perspective. Because if you didn't witness it and you just heard about the story and read it, normally you would probably cast yourself as the lead.
Right.
So I was wondering that, and now I know.
Yeah.
Now,
That's awesome.
that is pretty freaking amazing. Now, 23Blast, that's actually the name of a play, correct?
It is.
And it's the fullback running through the three-hole.
Yes.
On
It's the two back to
It's
the
the
three
two
hole.
Two back to the
Tailback.
three-hole. Yes.
Yeah.
I was a tailback,
Awesome. Good. You know, I picked onto that. We ran a similar play called a 23 ISO.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think real quick, can you just move your mic up a tiny bit? I'm
Yes.
getting a note from the back. There you go, perfect.
Bram,
Sorry, I got a note in the window to tell you that.
what position did you play?
Oh, I played wide receiver, running back, long snapper, punt returner.
That was
Wow.
an athlete.
Yeah,
Versatile.
backup quarterback. Yeah.
Man, this
So
dude is like
you sound like
Percy
the
Harvin.
perfect specimen for what we've been talking about in all of our,
40. What was your 40?
4'5".
Okay.
Dang,
Okay, you got some
all
wheels.
right.
Okay.
I bench 300, squat 500.
Okay.
36-inch vertical.
That boy was an athlete.
wow.
That boy was an athlete.
ass.
That boy was an athlete.
I really think he
I still
could.
take him one-on-one.
I want to see an arm wrestle.
Now, you guys were talking about the Giants and Cruz
Snap that
earlier.
twig.
I'm serious.
Snap that twig.
We should actually do that. Now, I'm serious.
It's gonna happen.
We already have the thing here. Now,
hold him.
You just want to hold our muscles. That's all.
I do.
Now, I was going to ask, did you ever get, because we were talking about Giants earlier, do you ever get Jason Sehorn?
I don't think I've ever gotten that, but I know what he looks like, and I can see that.
That's a compliment, actually.
Yeah.
He's a swag guy.
Hey, he's got a beautiful wife too. Or I don't know if they're still married.
Do you guys
Let's
see
hold that. Angie Harmon.
Rondi Barber over here?
Rondé. Speaking of wives, wasn't Rondé Barber the one that left his wife? And
That
then,
was Tiki.
Oh, Tiki. Okay, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them, I feel like.
Tiki was the one that played for the Giants, and as soon as he left, they won the Super Bowl.
That is right.
Bad luck.
I don't know, man.
Sucked.
Yeah.
But
And he was like that guy for that team anyway. I digress.
So, okay, hold on. Bram
I digress.
is a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan.
Yeah, I know.
Tell us what it's like to be a Bucs fan, because none of us know. I mean, Stef Z could probably relate to you the most because she's a Jets fan.
Right.
What made you become a Tampa Bay Bucs fan?
I lived in Tampa, Florida for like 9-10 years, and in Kentucky we don't have any pro teams, so I kind of adopted the Buccaneers. But after 2002, when we won the Super Bowl, it's been downhill since then. So it's a disappointing year after disappointing year.
Hey, there's still a
69
chance
for me.
to turn it around.
forever.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Never too late.
It's never too late.
Of course, a Jets fan would say that, but you never.
Cue the sad music.
Steven,
Dude,
you were the man.
I hope we just don't win any more games so we
Yeah.
can pick a new team.
Damn, that's from the 70s gong show
That
or
is.
something.
No, it's not.
I know,
That's from
right?
The Price is Right.
Oh, you're right.
I was just
on.
there.
Okay. Do you have a favorite player?
My favorite player, Michael Vick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Steph.
see, there we go.
Yeah.
So,
love Vic, too.
can you speak about Vic's current status as an athlete? I mean, we see he's diminishing.
He is.
How many years do you say Vic has left?
Not many.
You know,
One or two.
I have to disagree. I don't know that he's completely diminishing. I think that right now,
Did you see him the game before last?
I did. I was there.
You were.
I saw the game. I just think that I would like to see Michael Vick start and play 2 full games, and I think everybody would be surprised.
They would. He'd get back into it.
He would get right back into it. He left. He had all the trouble with his legal stuff, this, that, and the other thing. He never came fully back, never got back to the top. Then he got traded. Now he's sitting the bench, and he's watching this rookie make stupid mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
And he's sitting there trying to stay positive. Like, that's got to kill your ego. Let
Right.
the man play. I would be happy to see him fully play a
How
couple games.
did it feel as a Tampa Bay fan to win the Super Bowl
Right.
and then have your starting quarterback get traded?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's the only team that's ever
Ever done
happened
that?
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then again,
That's
look
like
who
the craziest
but
thing
then
that has to
again,
loom over Trent Dilfer said. Like,
Look
oh my
who the
God.
starting quarterback was, though. You're not that. Trent Dilfer, honestly, if you look at quarterbacks to win Super Bowls the
Yes.
last 15 years,
Yes.
is probably the only one referred to as a game manager. And what I mean by game manager is referred to as a non-franchise quarterback that was able to control the game and win for his team. So I wasn't shocked that they traded him.
Right.
We're not talking about a Joe Montana, a Steve Young, a
You're just gonna
Or
compare
the
him to
other
the greatest
49ers.
$49. I'm just maybe I was a little biased with that, but
Yeah.
still, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the Bucks are
Peyton
bad.
Manning, Eli Manning. Just keep going to the greatest.
Roethlisberger,
Yeah.
Hey, he won 2.
Hey,
He did.
why don't we get into
The
tonight's
49ers
game?
tonight.
Yeah, let's get into the
Which-
game. And then before we do wrap up, though, I would like to talk more about the movie. I've got some questions.
Yeah,
I did some
go ahead.
research. We can do it after the game if you want. We'll wrap back up with.
Yeah, we'll come back
Yeah,
around.
we'll come
Yeah.
back around to that.
Sounds
But
good.
there are some more
We
things.
want to hear what Bram has to say about what he thinks about Monday Night Football. As
Yeah,
well.
we want to hear
Yes.
about Monday Night Football, and then we want to
Yes.
talk some more about the 23Blast and the arm wrestle.
Yes, we had the St. Louis Rams and the 49ers. We all chose 49ers, right?
Yes.
You know what? Let me say this. The 49ers had my confidence shook that first quarter.
They
I'm
did.
not going to lie.
Okay, first of all,
I was just saying.
Kevin is going to be on the
I was
defense on
watching
everything
the
we
game.
say.
Well,
Now,
okay, let
remember,
me.
I'm not a fan. I'm just a guy watching a football game. And the productivity was...
Right, so let me
Zero.
ask
Very
you then, Thaddeus.
questionable.
Let me ask you. Did did the Rams play their offense play that good, or was it the 49ers defense played that bad in that first quarter?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think the 49ers were just, they weren't filling gaps, they weren't shooting the gaps, none of that. They weren't stopping the run. It's like, what is going on here? And then the Rams were just executing their plays as they practiced them.
Before we get too into it, I have to say this, and I know that whatever, but did you guys all see the national anthem? That violinist that played it.
I did. I saw the tail end of that.
Sick.
It was awesome.
Good.
It was really good. Like, I didn't expect it. I was like, the professional violinist, and he just was like, it was really, really awesome.
That's cool.
And the other thing that stuck out to me right when the game started is I love that they played with the throwback jerseys tonight, because it kind of almost felt like it was LA versus San Francisco, and I just love those super bright, like, superhero colors. So it just reminded me of my Dickerson jersey I used to have.
Dickerson.
Well,
I own one.
it also is a San Francisco St. Louis National League Baseball Championship going on right now.
There you go.
So we had the head-to-head in both sports, which is cool. But
Sweet.
let's talk about Austin Davis.
Oh, man.
Goes from 4th string to starter. He was undrafted out of Southern Miss. Got let go by the Rams. Was on the Dolphins practice squad for like a week, I think they said. Got picked back up by the Rams. Thrusted into the spotlight, basically, in, was it week 3?
Yeah.
And
Somewhere in that mix, too, he was completely out of the NFL, though, and was like coaching high
yes,
school.
and he said, this is my last chance once he got the chance with the Rams again. And what is your evaluation on his overall performance tonight? I'll give you his stats. He was 21 and 42, threw for 236 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Let's start with Bram. What did you think of him?
I thought he was good. Of course, he didn't obviously put together a complete game. He had great moments and he had bad moments. The interception that he threw for a pick 6 at the end of the game, it's hard to count that against him. But I mean, he's good. He definitely has potential. He has to just put together a full game. I mean, he's got receivers, so.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely, in that first quarter, he showed a lot of promise. And you're right, that last interception that he threw was
sealed the deal.
It was just bad. It was just, it was his fault. Yes, they were playing good man-to-man coverage there, but it was just, I don't know. It was the end of the game. He was probably feeling a lot of pressure, like, this is my last opportunity to save this for my team. So, yeah, I can't really count that against him too much. But what do you guys think? What did you think of him?
Well, first
Evan?
of all, just to piggyback on your feel-good story, obviously we know who I was going for tonight. But with that being said, I can still respect Austin Davis. I can respect his background and story. And it kind of makes you think back to '99 when there was this guy named Kurt Warner who took over midway, a few games into the season and had a Cinderella-type season, ultimately took him to Super Bowl, won against the Titans. But Kurt Warner, prior to that, he was stocking shelves while trying to get a job in the CFL playing quarterback. So I looked at that, and then I looked at Austin, and I was like, man, these are similar kind of stories. The unfortunate thing is Austin obviously did not complete the game in full fashion. The first quarter, he was impressive. If you looked at that first drive, they drove 80 yards down the field. He connected. He was like 5 of 6 or 6 for 7. I don't know the exact stat, but he was sharp that first drive. Even the first quarter alone, he was very sharp on. And I think someone tweeted me, "Are you nervous or something?" I don't know if that was. I don't know who that was. I ain't gonna point fingers, but somebody said that.
I'll take it.
And I think I was laughing when I read that because I was just like, just watch and wait. But to say that, I guess to finish with my assessment of him, he looked sharp the first quarter. In the second half, he was absolutely horrendous. He didn't complete a pass until under 6 minutes in the fourth quarter, which means he went practically, 21 minutes without a completed pass the second half. So his game completely fell apart. I don't know whether that's to him or if you attribute that to the dominance of the San Francisco 49ers.
The pass rushing from the 49ers.
I would have to attribute that to the stepped-up defense as opposed to the dominance of the 49ers. The defense, the 49ers,
we're ranked
49ers.
Yeah.
I'm about to go off, but go ahead.
I'm going to
push this button on the same. But I would have to say that the 49ers stepped their game up tremendously, obviously, and they actually started playing like the 49ers that we know that they are, because they played like crap in the beginning of the game. They stepped up, and then, of course, the Rams are obviously not on that level. They just kind of fell apart at the same time, so it was just like a changing of the tides, really.
Well, I think, too, more to your point, Kevin, it was really cool because Kurt Warner, you actually see him upstairs.
Yes!
So it was kind of
That
cool,
was
like
awesome.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
But as far as Davis, I really liked him. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was on point. I don't know if you guys heard it. I don't know where you watched, but they were comparing him to Drew Brees, which I felt was a little bit premature.
Disrespect.
Yeah, or that. And something that I saw and I felt the pain of, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this, is that their new offense coordinator is Brian Schotty. And he was with the Jets before this. And it was a very similar thing to the Jets come out big and they fall apart in the end. So I don't know if he's playing to Davis's weaknesses and strengths the way he should be as well. That might be a factor in what happened at the end. Also, he's new. His story's great. He'll get better and better. I think he has the talent. But again, I've seen, it's almost like I felt like I was watching a similar Jets story. It's like you get out in front of the team that you're the underdog, and then it just falls apart, and the miscalled plays, misreads, all that happens. So,
well, the problem was he was under duress the whole second half, if you saw. And there's no way a quarterback can lead when every play they're under duress. They're trying to evade defenders. They can't get in their zone. They can't develop the correct chemistry with the receivers, and they're not going to be able to make plays.
Right.
And San Francisco, that whole second half, they were, they blanketed him.
Right.
He couldn't do anything.
They became more cohesive. So I think they also adjusted their game plan as well, because I think there's probably some underestimation there, or so it seemed. Yeah, that oftentimes happens as well. Sometimes teams come out and they're a little complacent based on who they're playing or who in their mind psychologically they're playing, and then a couple of plays happen and they're like, okay, wait a minute, we're in a game. We're not going to let this happen. And then they wake up and then they start competing like how they know they're supposed to and what everybody expects of them. And that's kind of what it seemed like. You woke up a sleeping giant during the game. Like it didn't seem like the 49ers came ready to play. It seemed like they just kind of took it like, oh, we're going to win this game. It's like, no, you got to play and win this game. And you can still lose this game if you let them beat you. Kind of thing. You can still lose a game if you don't come to play, regardless of how much talent that you have. So I think it took them a minute for them to realize, okay, these guys came to play. And so we're gonna have to go to work and we have to play, and that's what they did. But they could have lost that game.
They easily could, because you saw the first half. The Niners, their offense was pretty much dormant, with the exception of that 80-yard bomb with like 15 seconds left when Kaepernick hit Floyd. They really couldn't get anything rolling offensively.
That was bad defense. I don't think he would have got that ball. I don't think he would have had that touchdown if it weren't for.
And that was a momentum changer as well.
Yes.
That happened.
Yeah.
And also, I believe.
You talking about that streak up the sideline on the left side?
No, it wasn't a streak. It was a bomb. Oh, yeah. It wasn't like it was like a bomb. Well, it wasn't like he.
It was
He ran it out and go.
Yeah.
And Cap hit him.
It was like an 80-yard pass.
Yeah.
What is it, out and go, or did he do a double move and then go?
Yeah, he did a double shift. He did a double shift like a hitch. It was like a hitch and go.
No, but you're thinking of the other one. When it was on the other side and he went like
Michael
this.
Crabtree.
Yeah,
When he
you're
did the
thinking of
zigzag,
Crabtree.
yeah.
That's a post. That's called a post corner post. It's a PCP. No, that was on the right side of the field.
Not the
I'm talking
drug.
about Brandon Lloyd on the.
Yeah.
I'm talking about on the left side.
Yeah, that was Lloyd.
pass.
He did a little hitch because he ran, did a little move like he was going to do a hitch.
I think that was man. I think they were in man, and the guy just got beat.
But you should be.
Well, no, they broke down that play later on, and they showed Jenkins, the corner that was supposed to be on him, was like 2 to 3 yards behind him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then they showed the rest of those defensive players were like all in the middle of the field, where there was only one other offensive player.
That free safety should have been on that side, glued on, and he bit and came up to take the tight end. And whenever you're in that particular situation, especially with 15 seconds left, not necessarily that you want to go on a prevent defensive mode,
Definitely not.
but you don't want to give up big yardage. And I didn't understand.
He just got beat.
Yeah.
He did that double move and he bit on it.
He bit. That's what happened.
So
Yeah.
he was there in man and he got beat.
Still, let me ask you this.
Regardless
Right,
of the
but what
scheme,
I-
he
but
was
what I
in
was gonna
man.
say was-
That's what
also,
Chad
that was a
Ochocinco used to have
momentum.
those. Or, remember Chad
I get
Ochocinco?
what you're
Exactly. So when you got
I
that
get you.
one-on-one battle,
I
that
got it.
island, it doesn't matter what's going on over here, kind of, sort of.
Right.
They're on that island. He got beat. That boy got beat.
He got burnt.
He got burnt.
Yeah.
What I was
Toast.
trying to say was, because what I meant was that was a big momentum changer. And I don't know what you guys think, but the Rams did get one kind of penalty against them that was kind of
Bad call, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the
first half.
offensive
The
pass interference.
offensive pass
Yeah.
interference
Awful.
that was not a pass interference at all.
It was awful. It
No, that was a
absolutely
momentum
awful.
changer as well.
Because say they converted that first down, because that was a first down, they would have kept that drive alive, would have got at least a field goal or a touchdown, and
Because
that just
Cook
killed.
broke that
Yep.
tackle.
Yeah.
Like he had an awesome break tackle. That
Horrible.
Yeah.
I think
Horrible.
that was the point in the game where the momentum completely shifted.
Oh, yeah.
Like 100% was 49ers and gone.
Yeah.
But then there was another controversial, well, I shouldn't say controversial, but questionable call, that holding. He barely grabbed him. It's like, and they even said, the announcer said that this is something that the refs are saying that if you grab the jersey at all, they're going to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes to a point where it's
The
like,
no fun league.
let him play.
Yeah,
It's not like he's ripping him down, and it wasn't even on purpose either.
But honestly, we kind of got a premonition of this during the preseason when they called so many flags on so many penalty flags. That is on so many. I mean, there were more penalty flags thrown this preseason than ever before, and I think that's just ref officiating. They're trying to crack down a lot more this year on various penalties. They're trying to protect the quarterbacks more, and
Well, that's because the big lawsuit. Guaranteed
Well,
that's because more people are complaining they
that's
got
true.
hurt. I mean, there was a huge lawsuit in the what lawsuit do
Yeah,
you
it was-
hear about where they're like, no, you guys should sue for more money?
Yeah, it was pretty
because the
insane.
NFL had to do all that. Of course, the NFL's like, you guys better get out there and pull your flag
Hey,
out.
it's a contact sport.
I predict by the year 2025 that NFL football will
be
officially
flag.
be two-hand touch.
It'll be flag football.
With
two-hand
pads.
touch.
With pads. Two-hand touch.
That is hilarious, man. With flags, but and then that way maybe
It
the
is
Jets could finally
crazy,
win a
though.
game.
Oh,
but
man.
anyways,
Again, there, just back it up, roll over me, drive over, back up, reverse, go ahead. No, but it is crazy, and it's happening. And again, just for a little moment, really, like a serious moment. Actually, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but on Long Island, pretty close to where I grew up, kid was actually killed playing football last week. Sharm Wading River.
Yeah, I think I heard
Tom
about that.
Cutnella.
was it off a head impact?
Yeah,
or?
he got hit, and they didn't really, he got hit and he wound up dying from a hit on the field.
Yeah.
So the contact and the things that are happening are, you know what I mean? Like, I understand to an extent, like, I get let the men play and it's this, that, and the other thing, but there are these things happening because people are more aggressive, they're stronger, even at the NFL level, there's all this happening. So I get the flags, but there's just, for me, there's not, like, there's no standard yet. It's like one thing is a call and one thing's not a call.
There's no consistency.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
And I know.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of consistency, and,
Right.
and sometimes that's difficult to do because different officiators have different ways of calling what they feel. Because some of those calls they're pretty explicit, but they can also be subjective in the eye of the officiator. Maybe they felt it was too much, kind of like an umpire calling balls and strikes.
Right.
To some umpires, they would call a strike on something, and I think it's the same
But at
thing
least with that, I feel like umpires, if they're going to call a game, their strikes and balls are consistent. Like, they have maybe their strike zone is different from a different umpire, but throughout that baseball game, it'll be consistent calls. And I think that's what's not consistent in football. And I feel like that's why everyone's like, well, this, that, and the other thing. Like, if consistently touching a jersey was a flag, we would all get like, okay, that's a flag. But it's like they get away with it one time and they don't the next time. That's why we're all like, what's going on?
You gotta remember, these guys are also politicians, so they have to be down on the field and they have to politic with the refs. It's like this whole gambit of give and take. It's like taking money under the table. Like, even the refs are fans of these guys, so like sometimes it's like, okay, I'm gonna let him get away with this one. He's a good player. I like him. Kind of thing. It's all psychological. You gotta remember that they're all human beings, and everything plays into the psyche of the ref, just like everybody else. They watch the games, and they're subject to media, pop culture, advertising, and all this stuff that's propagandizing. That's not a word, but pushed into our psyche. That's pushed into everybody's psyche about how they perceive.
So you're
certain
trying to say
people.
that football is fixed?
I'm saying every sport is fixed to a certain degree. Even they talked about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan used to travel all the time and do all these things, and they didn't call him on it because they're like, Michael Jordan, he can get away with anything he wants to. They do that.
Is that why they put him out the league for 3 years due to his gambling issues?
Those are for other reasons that we will not discuss.
Anyways.
Anyway, back to
Bram,
the game.
Yes.
What were some of the highlights of the game that stuck out to you? Was there anything in particular? Or?
Crabtree's a beast, and Anquan Bolden is a beast. I mean, I really liked seeing Trey Mason getting his first carries, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Trey Mason, there were quite a few rookies on the Rams that had their first starts. Well, not necessarily first starts, but good games tonight. We had Trey Mason, Auburn. Another Auburn guy was Greg Robinson, their number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then we had Florida State, LaMarcus Joyner, who I think had a pretty, like, a notable play at the end of the game, I feel like.
I don't remember.
I wrote it down somewhere. My notes are so crazy, but and then Aaron Donald, who has the only sack of the team so far this season.
Yeah, they were talking about Donald, how his mentality too. It's like a vet, like he's like a rookie, but he seems like he's been there for like 5 years. Just his awareness and the way he talks to his team and stuff like that. So I feel like he was definitely performing.
Did you see that hit he put on?
Yes.
Straight up the middle. I mean, just straight up plastered.
When he hit Frank Gore?
Yeah, when he
talking
just
about McDaniel?
he took Gore just straight up. You saw that hit.
Yeah, he pushed him back.
Yeah,
He didn't fall
and
forward.
Gore's a strong back too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But
You know who got clobbered on your team? Ellington? Is that him? Number 10? Is that his name? Ellington?
you're talking about our
special teams punt
returner. Yeah.
He like took it and like he got clobbered twice.
Well, I mean, he did, but
He like took it on like the 3 and tried to run and got smashed.
Yeah.
That's the thing with being a punt returner is knowing when to fair catch it, when to call a fair catch, knowing when to get out, or knowing when
He
to
did
run
it
back.
twice.
Tis true.
But sometimes, punt returners, and you know this.
Of
Sometimes,
course.
yeah,
They're the
they
most dangerous and daring guys in the NFL.
Yeah.
To sit
And you
back there
can be
and watch a
dangerous
ball
and
that's-
daring, but when you're taking a ball on the 3, like, let it go in the end zone.
Okay, you got to understand the mind of a person who will stand there while 10 other guys that are running full speed on an open field, and you don't even get to really look at these guys. You got to look up in the air and wait for this ball to come down. You're
He's
different
got
with the
the
completely
balls.
different
I get
psyche
it.
of an individual who does that.
I totally get it. I'm
Yes.
just saying it wasn't the smart play twice.
So you think that he should have either fair caught that or just let the ball go into the end zone for a
End
touchdown?
zone, throw a block.
Bram, do you agree with that? You said you played some special teams.
Absolutely. You stand on the 10-yard line. If it goes over your head past the 10, you let it go. I mean, unless it's...
Sure.
So when do you fair catch? If you're above the 10 and they're within like a yard of you, then you would fair catch it, right?
Yeah, if you let's say you're on the 8 and
Uh-huh.
the ball's coming and you see 2 guys that might possibly be able to down the ball within, right next to the goal line, maybe you fair catch it at the 8. But anything closer to the 5 or you got to let it go in the end zone, get a touchback.
Now, have you ever got clobbered as a returner?
I have. I got clobbered on a kickoff one time, like snot nose.
Oh,
my
gosh.
goodness!
Yeah,
Take
you
us
get-
through the play.
I don't remember. I mean, it happened so fast. Yeah, you just get hit. It was obviously in the wintertime, runny noses, but got hit so hard, knocked the snot out of me.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally. That's how you know it was a hard hit.
Now, you played a lot of positions. You were kicker, receiver, returner, quarterback, tight end, and you played all those on the same down.
That's right.
Which is pretty incredible.
It was just you and like 2 other people on the field.
You hiked the ball to
Awesome.
yourself.
He had like 12 numbers on his jersey. Not 12.
You were the coach
Velcro.
as well.
and that
Velcro, take
viral
one.
video where the guy throws it up to himself and runs and catches it. Yeah, I was doing that.
That was you? That was you?
You
Oh,
originated
okay.
that. But I was going to say, out of all those, what was your favorite position to play?
Running back.
Running back? And
Yeah.
why? Because you just like enduring hits, or what was it about?
No, I like running over people.
Oh, all right.
That's right, with your 36, vertical and your
Your 4'5",
bicep 45. Yeah. Now, have you?
This is happening.
Squatting.
I know, right? Now, you said you've gotten clobbered before. Have you ever absolutely clobbered somebody else?
Yeah. A number of times. There was one time I think I clobbered a guy. He fumbled it, but I think I got a concussion. So I don't know if that counts for who clobbered who if I got a concussion.
Clobbered yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't do an arm wrestle. People are going to walk out with 2 black eyes, both of you.
So since running back was your favorite position, and you mentioned already that you were excited to see how Trey Mason performed tonight, what do you think his future is in the NFL? I mean, obviously he played against a very good defense tonight, and he had 5 carries for 40 yards and 1 reception for 12 yards. Pretty good for a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him at Auburn. You know, I actually went to the national championship game when they played Florida State. So, I mean, he was nasty in college. So, if he can do that in the NFL, he'll be good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's tight. He's pretty tight.
That's but it's always a hard transition from NFL, particularly at the running back position. I think that's one of the hardest transitions to make from college to NFL, because you have in college you don't have linebackers that can run 4.5 40s and are as athletic as they have in the NFL.
They're the premier and very few and far between, but. When you go to the NFL, the game is just that little bit faster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got guys that will come and smack the snot out of you in a heartbeat. If you got to run north and south. Your fundamentals have to be so on point and so tight, and you have to be very disciplined. You can't get away with a number of things. That's why when you see like fantastic plays in the NFL, you're like, wow, that really happened, because you're dealing with such a level of discipline, and elite athleticism that those certain breakdowns just don't happen. So when those big plays happen, it's really a bigger deal than even a fan can appreciate, even from the player's standpoint.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a rookie, too. Like we saw in our Hard Knocks episode where Devontae Freeman, who's the rookie on the Falcons this year, got hit really hard. I think it was in one of the practice games against the Titans or something. Yep. And he went up to Steven Jackson and was like, man, he just came out of nowhere and hit me. And he's like, well, they're going to do that.
He's like, welcome.
It's like, all right, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
I feel like there's been a lot of rookies this year, though, in the receiver and running back position that have been playing really well. I mean, granted, the Bills aren't that good, but Sammy Watkins has been playing well. We have Antone Smith on the Falcons that's been playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Trey Mason had a great game tonight. I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree with this, that maybe the college level has risen a little bit more and it's not as big as a gap going from college to NFL as it used to be. Do you guys agree?
Well, that's a very interesting, I guess, debate that you bring up, because, I think that before you would have, I mean, if you look years, you would have rookies that made immediate impacts in the NFL, even if you look, 10 years back,
right.
Or even 7 years back. Look at Adrian Peterson his rookie year. He practically broke every record. But, the thing is that I think also college players are being prepared a lot more for the transition into the NFL, and they're getting a lot more better coaching, training, and just overall skill set that they're acquiring before making the jump. So you do see them having immediate impacts. The one thing I have not seen an impact from so far this year, though, is rookie quarterbacks.
Yes.
And, even rookie quarterbacks that are playing somewhat good, like Derek Carr, are still 0 for 5 or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I haven't really seen...
Right,
but
I feel like that's just it's like everything's changing so much, because last year or the year before they were great, so next year it might be good. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that the question that you posed, do we agree or disagree? I feel like the level of the NFL has definitely risen, but also college has risen too. So there's still a gap. Maybe the gap looks different, but there's still a gap. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like...
No, there definitely is, but and also, I guess...
But I'm saying, like, I don't think it's smaller or bigger. I think that it's just different. Like, the level... Because years ago, the NFL maybe was at a 5 and college was at a 2, and now the NFL maybe is at an 8 and college is at a 5. Like, it's the same... You know what I mean? Like, it's relatively the same gap. It's just the position that players are in college now is different than it was years ago, but also the NFL position is different, because you didn't have things happening in the NFL that are now 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, it's everything has been changing together.
Well, it evolves.
Yeah.
What do you
guys
agree?
are getting bigger, stronger, and faster every year.
Yes.
Absolutely. What are they feeding them boys?
Drugs.
Bram, do you agree with that?
I do.
Drugs.
I do agree. I mean, yeah, it's just, I feel like I mean, look at the athletes we have today versus the athletes, 20, 30 years ago. It's just, they're just evolving.
Right. Well, we have people like Deshaun Jackson, who had a full ride to Cal for baseball or football. He's a very, very good athlete, just all around. So that's what I think we're getting now is these guys that can play any. I think somebody, was it in the game tonight? I think it was on Sunday. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying, "Oh, he used to play he used to play baseball." As someone that kind of laid out for his
Davis.
Kaepernick used to be a pitcher.
No, they were talking
did?
about Davis though.
And Austin used to play baseball. Yeah.
They were talking about him because
A
he
lot
was
of
on the
quarterbacks
run.
It was a
Exactly.
receiver though,
Russell
so
Wilson.
it must have been
Tonight
on
they were
Sunday.
talking about
plays.
Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, tonight they were talking about Davis in baseball.
And Michael Vick, actually, your favorite quarterback, got drafted as in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He was like in the 100th round or something, but it was way back. But he was also drafted, so it's not uncommon for.
That's been going on for decades.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
also, what I have to say too is actually a friend of mine, her child was visiting a college this weekend, and I think too with that whole everything's evolving and changing. I mean, kids nowadays, 9th and 10th grade, are committing to colleges.
Yeah.
So I feel like the whole bar has changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The standard has changed. You would never do that, and it's crazy to me that kids are committing to college that young for sports because
That's been going
what
on for
happens
a
if they
while,
get
too.
hurt? Right.
Seriously, for
I mean, maybe like 5 years. It's not like 10 years, 15 years ago.
well, talk about it. Enlighten us.
I don't know
have been
about that.
Kids have been getting recruited for a while now, at least 15, 20 years
Recruited.
from like.
Definitely not 20 years.
Well, apparently LeBron James.
You gotta remember, this is a business.
Right,
These
but
guys
what I'm saying for college,
looking
they're
at Pop
getting
Warner, they're-
recruited, but they
He
weren't
said pop
committing.
water.
They really are
Committing,
though.
like signing stuff in 9th grade. What college are going to?
Well, I
Well,
mean,
you can't
you can't sign
sign
anything before
anything.
18
But
anyway.
they're
So
a verbal
It's all
commitment.
verbal. And then
they
the parents are all in on it, and then you're trying to figure out why certain schools are.
It's
you
crazy.
know.
It's like they're allowed. Someone I know did this weekend. They're allowed to have the kid on campus for 48 hours, and they schmooze and wine and dine the kids, and they want like a verbal commitment that these kids are going to come play for their school.
Right, and just
it's
because-
crazy. But it wasn't like that when I was in high school 20 years ago. It definitely wasn't like that.
Right, and just
When you were in high
because they
school, how many years
verbally.
ago?
20.
No way. She's such
Thanks
a
for
liar,
just
Stef Z.
She just disclosed her age.
20-year reunion next year. You want to come?
But
buddy?
you
I'll be a
know,
date.
the thing is that you hear is that you actually, and I've read this a lot to kind of piggyback on what you said, kids that are kind of foregoing the second semester of their senior years of high school to enroll early at colleges.
They go to spring ball.
Like Matt Barkley did it, Cody Kessler. I know those are USC quarterbacks, but you hear about that a lot here in LA. But you hear about that a lot. A lot of players will do that and will graduate early and will be on college campuses, technically their senior year of high school,
Yep.
to get into the system and
Yep.
whatnot. So,
Right.
yeah, I think the recruiting, I think it's been going on for a while, but I just think now the recruiting is a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
And, than we've seen 20 years ago.
Yeah, my point is that the whole spectrum of the game from high school to college, from college to pro, has changed.
No, that's true.
Across
when,
the board,
When
it's
I was in the
changed.
5th grade, there were scouts from the Sacramento Kings looking at me. So
Yo,
I totally.
played varsity in 7th. No, it's good.
I'm joking.
Anyway, back
let's
to
go.
Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
I want to ask. I'll start with Bram again because we were just talking about the rookies on the Rams defense. Do you think the problems with this defense is it inexperience or are they really that bad?
Maybe both. I mean, Janoris Jenkins, he got beat up pretty bad tonight. So, I mean, obviously you can't blame it on one guy. But the Niners are good. The Niners are really good. So, I mean.
Thank you.
They are. I mean, it could have easily been a blowout. But like you said, Thaddeus, like maybe the Niners didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know, see, the Niners are very modest. You know what I mean? They knew it was a
Just
night.
like you, right, Kevin?
Yeah, they're very humble. They knew it was a night they were honoring, the Rams and stuff. They didn't want to come in there and just absolutely dismantle the poor kid.
Oh, my
They wanted to
gosh.
come in and make it fun.
You know what I
and,
have to say about the Niners? And let me finish my point before you jump on me, because I know you're going to. I feel like, and I can be wrong, I feel like we're seeing a little bit of a different Kaepernick, at least in this game. I don't know if it's true for the whole season. I feel like he's settling down slightly. I feel like last year, watching him play, that if the play wasn't going the way it was supposed to, he'd just take off and run. He was running and running and running, and he's still running, and he can run, and he gets lots of rushing yards. But I feel like tonight there was a few times where I would have thought he was gonna run, and he didn't. He was like waiting for the play to form and happen. Like I feel like he's settling in might be the wrong word because he came settled and he performed awesome right away, but I feel like he's playing with his head a little bit more or something. Like, are you going to jump on me? Or
I am not going to jump. I think that was one of the most beautiful, eloquently insightful things you've ever said. That was awesome.
my God.
No,
I
but
felt that in my
seriously.
heart. Yeah, no,
I'm gonna just throw up over here real quick.
No, I think that was very. I'm feeling emotional that was so good. But yeah, basically what you're saying is Kaepernick has. Well, first of all, he's one of few quarterbacks that has the ability to extend plays. We saw Russell Wilson do that last Monday night.
Yes.
Right.
But Kaepernick does have that ability to do that. He can evade defenders and wait for plays to develop, wait for receivers to find isolation and get open.
But he didn't used to.
And
He used to just take off because he could and he wouldn't get
that's because he had that Michael Vick syndrome where he just
Yeah,
wanted to
like, I
run
feel like-
the whole time.
because
No
I-
offense. I'm sorry.
No,
that's
because
so
I
bad.
felt like even last season, I'm like, oh man, this is another great quarterback, but he's so going to get hurt because he's just going to run into this thing, and he's not doing that as much. So I'm not.
But one thing also is the Rams didn't really put too much pressure on him tonight.
did.
I didn't
there was
think
one
they
sack
did.
against, but that was their first sack of the whole year. So
No,
that was
they
a big
didn't
one.
sack him. They had the
I
one
think
sack came from a previous game. There were no
No, they
sacks.
sacked him, but there was a horse collar.
Nope, there were no sacks.
What-
The
I
Rams did
just
not
wanna-
sack anyone tonight.
We'll have to check with our statistician in the booth there. He's looking it up for
Yeah,
us.
Steven, you can check, but I'm pretty sure,
Mario,
I'm
son.
like 99% sure that there's no sacks on Kaepernick tonight. And he was, prior to this game, the highest sacked quarterback in the season right now with 13 sacks, I believe.
Yeah, and that's probably just from his ability to run around and try to, extend plays. But
yeah.
I will say this in regards to what you said, that he threw for over 360 yards tonight, which is his second highest passing total since he became a starting quarterback. And also to attest to what you said, outside of the pocket, Colin Kaepernick has 102 quarterback rating outside of the pocket and 21 touchdowns since 2002. That is the highest touchdowns and highest quarterback rating of any QB in the last couple of years. So that
Wow.
shows you how valuable he is, not
That's
just
a
inside the
testament.
pocket, but outside the pocket as
Right.
well. And it's a testament to his development
Yeah.
and his the evolution of Colin Kaepernick. And
Yeah.
man, that boy's getting dangerous.
He's
getting dangerous.
He's also taken the lead for top rusher out of quarterbacks in the NFL right now, 242 rush yards.
Yeah.
So I believe he surpassed Russell Wilson.
And Cam, even though Cam had like 110 yards on Saturday,
Right.
Sunday, he was beasting. But
Right.
Cap is. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, he might have got rid of the ball on the horse collar, but they did tackle him. But anyway,
No
so
sacks.
what's with
That's not a fact.
What you said?
Let's-
You said
no,
yes to.
I would like
What
to-
about
Actually, I didn't
Kaepernick
know.
and his headphones though? Did you hear
He got
about that?
fined? He got fined?
He got
No.
fined
He got
10
fined.
grand.
Because after
for
every
his
game,
beats.
he's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently
Beats-
tonight,
Beats
after the
headphones.
game,
Whoa, he got fined 10 grand for what?
for wearing his beats after the game.
Why?
In his I guess you're not allowed to wear any
No,
of the
because
logos or
NFL, they have a
something.
deal with Bose.
Oh yeah.
So because it wasn't Bose headphones, he got fined.
But hasn't he been doing that for a few
Yeah,
posts?
Because he
every
has an
post game?
endorsement
He does have an
with
endorsement.
Beats, right?
He does.
So they're probably paying that fine just like
Exactly.
Michael used to
Jordan.
pay for Michael Jordan's.
Exactly.
Right, so
shoe
tonight,
fine.
but tonight he wore them and he actually taped over the Beats thing.
And they still
Because everyone
fined him?
still knows their
They don't know
beats.
if it's going to be fine, but that just popped up. On
That's a
my
good question.
stats.
Will they still be able to find him, even though if he's, concealed the
Well, if they're going to find
identity
him
of him?
anyway,
Leaking
might
out
as well
the
keep the tape
logo?
off.
Yeah.
Well, sticking on the subject of Colin Kaepernick, here comes my fabulous question for you, Kevin.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I want you to compare Colin Kaepernick to Steve Young. Do you think that Colin Kaepernick is on the path to being the
I know.
best
I'll be back in
quarterback in
5.
49ers history?
Well, first of all, you have to compare a lot of stats. First thing first, and through Steve Young's
Apples to
first-
Apples.
through Steve Young's first 20 games, 19 games, he was 10-9. Colin Kaepernick is actually He was actually.
They showed that stat after the game. He's got a better.
He has a better
yes.
winning record than Steve Young does. And the only thing that Steve Young actually beat him in was
Super
touchdowns. Well, okay. But first of all, you have to look at the surrounding cast. When Steve Young took over for Joe Montana, he had Jerry Rice. He had, he had Taylor. He had Britton Jones at tight end. I mean, he had some of the best.
And he was under the tutelage of Joe Montana for a minute
exactly.
as well, which helped him.
I would argue that Steve came into a better situation than Kaepernick came into as far as surrounding cast is concerned. But to answer your question, will he become the next Steve Young?
Not the next Steve Young. Is he on the right path to becoming the best 49ers quarterback in history? Because right now, wouldn't you say that that's Steve Young?
I would say Colin has to win at least a Super Bowl or two.
But he's on track.
Wait. So that's basically saying that Steve Young and that Joe Montana's not the best.
Right.
That's why I just asked. I said, would you say Steve Young is the best? Are you saying, or would you say Joe Montana?
So you're asking me who do I think the best quarterback of 49ers of all time is?
Okay, so the reason why I brought that up was because of the stats that they showed after the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that Colin Kaepernick had a better winning percentage.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking the question. But if you think that Joe Montana is better, same question. I'm just wondering if you see the potential. Obviously, we have no idea what the future holds, but from what he's done so far, is he on the path to?
Is he on pace to actually eclipse
That is a
those
very
records?
good question, and I would say it's kind of premature to make that prediction.
I would agree.
But for the simple fact you asked me, and I'm going to give you an answer, I think Colin has to prove himself a lot more effective as a pocket passer in order to be able to achieve. Because right now, Colin is benefiting off a great defense that San Francisco has. And, he's starting to they're building the correct pieces around him. So, because Colin is not a quarterback you're going to put out there and you're going to make him beat you with his arm. He's not going to be a quarterback that's going to throw for 350, 400 yards day in and day out, or, attempt 45 attempts. He's not the kind of quarterback that's going to do that. He plays a very good game. They have a huge rush game that goes into the percentage of plays that they do. So I think that in order for Colin to be, put up there with the elites, the Youngs, the Montanas, he has a lot more developing to do with his overall just throwing. And but I would say this, I wouldn't rule it out, but he has a lot of room to go if he wants to be mentioned with Joe Montana.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, with that question being on track, I mean, the stats show that he's on track.
Right,
Yeah.
that's why
Actually, I got it wrong. It was through the first 29 games.
Yeah, it was the first 29 games. He had more pass yards than Steve Young. He had less rush yards than Steve Young. And I also think that maybe because Steve Young was there as one of the announcers is maybe why they also were like, this is something awesome, because then Steve Young was talking about it afterwards. But if you look at it, he actually has a better first 29 starts with the Niners than Steve Young, except in rush yards. So I feel like the answer to the question is in the statistics that is yes.
But Bram, I think
Whoa.
I saw you shaking your head when I asked that.
Oh, well, it's tough to say because will Colin Kaepernick have better stats than Steve Young? Sure. But, what's the telltale sign of a good quarter? Is it Super Bowl wins or is it stats?
Thank you. Because if you go to stats, if you look at Montana's overall stats, he doesn't even break like the top 5 when it comes to passing yardage, touchdowns.
Exactly.
I don't even think he's in the top 10. We can look that up. But
stats always only tell part of the story. They never tell the
Exactly.
full
Right,
story.
but for the
That's
question
only
if he's on track to be that good,
Well, it depends on what you define as good. Are you defining good by stats or defining good by wins, Super Bowl wins, postseason wins? So I think however
by
you're
caliber of quarterback as Steve Young or Joe Montana, do you think he will have, like, once he's there for the longevity that they've been there, you don't think that they would be comparable or that Kaepernick will surpass?
Because the one thing is, will he have the longevity? If Colin can play another 10 full seasons, maybe even 12, 13, you see how Peyton is like on his 35th right now. But, if he does have the longevity, that's a really good question. Will he be able to produce the way that he does?
I think yes.
You got to look at Colin's postseason record. His first year as a starter, when he took over midway through the season, he took him to the Super Bowl. Impressive. He was, 3 for 1 because he lost the Super Bowl to the Ravens. And then the subsequent year, he lost in the NFC Championship against Sherman and those Hawks. So,
you brought up a good point earlier. Montana and Young, they had a supporting cast that were like
A who's who of
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right?
How many Hall of Famers were on those teams?
Exactly. So
he's doing this good without that supporting cast. I think
So you don't-
There's
he's a
other
rare breed.
factors as well. Because
think
to me,
he's a
I
rare
also
breed.
think that overall, I don't think that the league is as good as the league used to be. Just fundamentally as football players. I don't think that the league is as good as they used to be. Athletically, they're probably more athletic. I just don't maybe think that they're as good as football players. Just like you have guys in the NBA. They, you know, they great. They can jump through the roof, but I don't think they're as good as basketball players.
No.
It's the same thing.
No,
I just don't think fundamentally
NBA
they're
is-
as good. So
Okay.
that's why I think me and Bram are like that. You can't stats don't tell everything. You know, just
See, I don't know that I agree with that.
They only tell some of it. It only tells part
Not
of the
not the
story.
stats part, but the as good thing.
Well, I mean, if you look at stats, you could look at someone like Brett Favre, who has the most touchdowns of all time. Well, it's about to get surpassed
Yes.
by Peyton Manning
Yeah, he's like
next
3
week.
away, right? Or 2 away.
You know, and passing yardage. But then again, even Peyton Manning, you're looking at a guy who has all the stats in the world, but it's 1 and 2 in Super Bowls. His brother Eli is 2-0 in Super Bowls. Ben Roethlisberger is 2-0, but yet their stats will not stack up. So it's kind of like at the end of the day, when you look at Super Bowl wins and stats, it's kind of
Well, but that's crazy because, I mean, think about like 4 or 5 years ago when the Jets were in the playoffs. Okay, that's like a fluke.
the Jets made the playoffs.
Yes,
I'm
a
sorry.
wild card. No, follow me here for a second.
Mark Sanchez took him his first 2 years. I
Time
know.
out. Follow me here. So, and it's not just because it's about the Jets, but like what you're trying to say is that what if a team that has a crappy season, like a 9-6 season or whatever it is, they had before then, it wasn't that, but
9-7.
9-7, and they get into, or they had. Whatever they had, and they get a wild card play, and then they get a fluke of 2-3 games and get to the Super Bowl and win. You're saying that then the Jets are a better team than the Niners because they didn't win the Super Bowl?
Well, timeout. Technically,
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes the fluke team gets in, and I don't think it's based on just the Super Bowl stats. You know what I mean? If there's a consistency and there's a team and there's stats.
Right.
So let me ask you a
I don't
question.
know.
And
Consistency also plays a part in it.
Exactly.
Right, but
as
there
well,
are
performance.
there are times where there's huge upsets and teams that shouldn't be there are there and get in and win.
Squeak by.
For example, if you look at 3 years ago, the Giants, they were only 9-7. They barely made it to the wild card. They won 3 games, end up upsetting the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then if you look 2 years prior to that, the Patriots had a perfect season when they were what?
Right, but even-
and then the Giants upset them again in the Super Bowl. Well, are you saying that the Giants are a better team than the Patriots those 2 years, or do you think the Patriots are a better team than the Giants?
That's
even
what I'm saying. I believe the Patriots, and this pains me to say, but the Patriots were a better team. So that kind of negates what you guys are all talking about with that statistics versus
that's-
wins. That's what I'm saying. There's a complete flip side
Right,
to
and
that.
that is what that is the biggest thing in sports is half the people base who is good on stats. Half the people base it on your resume, basically. What have you done?
Well, but I just not even is it based
everyone,
on stats.
right? No, so
but just the
everyone
Super Bowl
has
win.
different. Everyone has different. Well, it's not just the Super Bowl win. I think he's talking about MVPs, Pro Bowl appearances, all the all-encompassing
All pros,
awards
yeah.
that
But
you
the
get.
stats, you get to the Pro Bowl if you have the stats.
Not necessarily.
At the end of the day, I'll put it like this: the only time stats matter is Hall of Fame candidacy. And going into the Hall of Fame, that's the only time stats matter. Rings, sometimes, I mean, rings always support the stats and they can validate
They
you
do. Mm-hmm.
as an athlete. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at Hall of Fame candidacy, they look at your stats, what you have done throughout the years.
Otherwise, Robert Horry would be considered better than Michael Jordan.
Exactly. She has 7 rings. Exactly. Or even Steve Kerr, who has like 5 or 6
That's what I'm
rings.
saying. Like I feel
So-
like there's a lot of different factors.
So, but see, this is the only thing, and I know we got to move on, so I'm going to just say my
Yeah.
one last thought, because you're doing a great job of keeping us on track here. The only thing that I will say about rings, to that credit, validating someone's greatness, is that with every great player, they believe you're supposed to be able to win on the biggest stage.
Yes.
What good is it if you're seen as this MVP caliber player, put up all the stats in the world, but you can't win on the biggest stage? So
So that's my last question is do you guys think I hear you that you don't think that the supporting cast around Colin Kaepernick this season is as good as say
It's
what
better.
Steve Young had, but
better.
with what he has this year, how they played tonight, how they played the last couple of games when they've turned it around, do you think that the 49ers will be back in the Super Bowl this year?
Will they get
Let's
past
start.
the
I want
Legion
to
of
start with
Boom?
Bram. I want to start with Bram.
Will the 49ers be back in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
50-50. I mean, they got to beat the Seahawks.
But the Cowboys just beat the Seahawks.
That's true. I think if the Cowboys played the Seahawks 10 times, the Seahawks would win 7.
I agree with you on that one.
So
That's good. I agree with you too.
I was gonna say 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see an upset. See the Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting Super Bowl.
I don't want to see the Cowboys anywhere until Romo is no mo.
All right, so Steph, I'll move on to you then. What do you think about the 49ers' chances of being in the Super Bowl this year?
I don't think they'll be in the Super Bowl. I think they'll be in the playoffs.
You can dismiss yourself from the show right now.
If they are in the Super Bowl, I will come over and watch with you and wear every piece of 49ers.
You guys heard that.
So, Kevin, I'm not even going to ask you because I know you're going to say yes, they're going to be in the Super Bowl. Thaddeus?
She just shut me up.
Good.
No, they will be in the 2017 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think they're going to make it to the NFC Championship
said it
again
here.
this year, and they're going to lose.
2017 Super Bowl.
I think
And they
Colin
probably
Kaepernick.
win.
I think they need another year.
And I think everyone on this panel just disrespected me.
But Kevin,
I'm leaving.
before we move on to our predictions, Bram, tell us a little bit more about your movie. You know, what do you want the fans to know about this movie? What inspired you? Obviously, we know you played with Travis, but what else inspired you to create this screenplay?
23Blast.
Yeah.
Yes, 23Blast.
I want the fans to know what an incredible story it is, about Travis Freeman, and just to, after you see the movie, just to come home and just be inspired to have faith again, have faith in life and whatever God you believe in, and just know that, with the power of your will and, the power of your mind, you can do anything, Travis Freeman, he could have easily thrown the towel in, going blind overnight is, I can't even imagine that. And then to play football blind is just another thing. So just to be inspired, just to go out and live your life and just know that life is very precious and it's never promised.
It's a great story.
Amen. Amen.
I had this experience once that as soon as I read about your film that it reminded me of, I was snowboarding. And we got off the ski lift and we were like strapping in, and all of a sudden, like 4 or 5 of the ski lifts were filled with people that had on these bibs that it said visually impaired skier. And I just sat there, and I don't really write a lot, but this is one of the times where I wrote this whole big blog about it, because I was just like, man, the amount of trust that these people, they were literally skiing down the mountain with somebody behind them going left, 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 right, 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 left, left, left on a mountain. Like the amount of, I get the chills talking about it. And I was just I kind of just trailed them just to see what was happening, and I was so curious, and it really gave me that wow, this is what life's about. We're all here as one. We're supposed to trust each other. We're supposed to be there for each other. And I feel like this and showing Travis and God, the amount of trust, because this is you're going into battle. I mean, I know it's kind of dramatic. I don't mean war, soldiers and don't take it there. But you know what I mean? It's he's trusting his team, his coach, his friends, his family, that this is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then he's trusting what they say. And it's a contact sport. And it's not like he's just trusting it as he trusts something else to be safe to cross the street or something that he can't do. But he's feeling physical impact.
Yeah.
And he's trusting that he's going to be okay. And to me, it's got to be so crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited to see this film, and I'm so glad you came because I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And is there any more that you can tell us about the story that wouldn't ruin it, or is it kind of wait? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it. Just
Okay.
you know the story of him, going blind overnight, and he thought everything was over. Really didn't have a reason to live, and his coach said, "You know what? I think you can play." And he was like,
Wow.
Play what? He said, "Play football." And so they brought him back on the team, and it was a struggle at first, but he kept fighting. And
Now, quick question: Was
amazing.
he just legally blind, or was he blind? I know there's different levels of
Black
blindness.
blind.
Was he
Right.
Ray Charles blind?
yeah, he was
or-
legally blind. Yeah, overnight,
Okay.
So does that mean he couldn't
So he couldn't see
anything?
sights or colors or.
complete darkness, complete
Wow.
black.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Overnight. Well, not amazing in a good way, but just, that's just
No,
astounding.
it's amazing that he was actually able to come and still play.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah, of course.
That's
I mean,
like
that's
beyond amazing.
How
That's
long?
inspirational.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know, you know. But if you can't answer it, don't. I'm like curious, George. So I'm just gonna want to know how long did it take to convince him to play, or is that ruining it?
That's not ruining it. I mean, I think it probably took a few weeks or so. I mean, of course, in a movie you have to Hollywoodize everything, but
Right.
yeah, a week or so.
Wow.
And you play his best friend, correct?
I do. I play the quarterback, his best friend.
So
yeah.
obviously you have a big role in his life and probably in all of his decisions, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
How did he feel? What was it like? Did you tell him that you wanted to do this and then you wrote this, or did you just write it and be like, "Hey man, I did this"? Like, do you guys still keep in touch? Like, did you have to find him? What was that whole experience like?
We kept in touch the whole time. Of course, we called him. We said, "Hey, we're gonna write a movie about you," and he was like, "Okay, sure." I mean, and he kind of laughed it off, like, "Okay, yeah, that'll never happen. I'll never get a movie made about me." And then years later, we got a script, and we showed up. We said, "Hey, we're gonna start filming." He was like, "Okay," but he was there every day on set, coming in. We put his headphones on. He
That's
would
cool.
listen to us on set. So he was super supportive.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So awesome.
So
amazing.
23Blast, you guys, comes out October 24th.
that's right.
Everyone needs to go see it because it's a very, from what I hear, a very inspirational movie. And I know we'll all be seeing it.
Of
So
course.
everyone
Yeah.
else.
We've been
We should
invited
all
to
go
the
together.
VIP premiere.
That's
Oh,
right.
we have?
That's right.
Is that what
Oh my
happened? Did that
gosh.
just
What we have now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, as Kevin
No
put you
pressure.
on blast.
23 Blast.
You said it live here.
Okay, so let's move on to predictions real quick, guys.
All right.
Now,
Jump the gun.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So I'll tell you. So, well, first, I guess we should flip back to last week where Kevin and I were the only ones that thought the Cowboys were going to defeat the Seahawks. So go us. Points for us.
cool.
You guys are so
team
rad.
us.
Yes,
Team us.
Team us. And then I think,
Yeah,
were you the
Hyperx.
only one that chose the Redskins, Kevin?
I
Yes.
may have been the only one to
Yes,
choose
you
it.
were.
So-
I
I'm
wrote
a
it down.
believer in Kirk Cousins. Sorry.
Okay, so then you were wrong on that
They had some
because
good
the
plays.
Cardinals won. So this Sunday, we have the Rams versus the Seahawks. And the 49ers versus the Broncos, which is a very good one. So, Bram, let's get your predictions. Who do you think's going to win of those two matchups and
Just
why?
straight up win, no spread, nothing like
No,
that.
no. Just who's going to win
Oh,
and
you gambling,
why.
man. Me and him gotta go to Vegas. We're talking spread.
I always cheer for the underdog, but I mean, to be smart, I don't think the Rams. There's no way they can beat the Seahawks. Where are they playing, in Seattle or St. Louis?
Doesn't
You know, I'm
matter.
not sure.
It doesn't really matter. No.
Well, we know
Yeah.
Seattle at home is pretty much well, with the exception of what happened last weekend. But yeah,
Right.
Yeah. So no. After what Seattle, what happened to them yesterday, they're definitely going to win next week. And then Broncos versus
49ers.
Where is it?
make the right answer.
I'm not sure.
Is it at home or is it
I can look.
Well, it's okay. I'm going to say Broncos.
you're gonna go with the
Really?
Broncos,
Yeah,
huh?
I am.
Disrespectful. Disrespectful.
If they're a mile high, I don't know.
Okay, before I'll let you guys go. So, Kevin, let me see your predictions. Obviously, I know you are taking the 49ers against the
Yeah, I'm about
Broncos.
to say, you don't have to
They're
ask me
playing.
that.
The Seahawks play in St. Louis.
That doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
They could be playing in Bora Bora.
He did.
Doesn't matter.
And the Niners play in Denver.
Yeah.
So basically, we already know who I think is going to win, and that's to take nothing away. I think Broncos are an incredible. I mean, obviously we see I think that game will be especially special because of Peyton Manning's record, which I don't want him to get it on the Niners, but chances are he probably will break it on them. So that would be
That'll
Did
make
you
it that
pick
much
the
sweeter.
Seahawks or the Rams?
me. Oh, I'm the Seahawks.
Okay.
Seahawks. Easily.
I'm just writing it down. I didn't hear you.
So Seahawks and 49ers. But I will predict Peyton will get the record.
That is.
Oh wait, time out, Bram. We have to know also who you pick for the Texans Steelers
Well,
Monday night
next
football.
Monday night, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Texans in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh got embarrassed this weekend by Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would like to think they'd bounce back, especially at home. So I'll take the Steelers.
Okay.
The Browns
So,
are
Steph,
invincible
who
in
are
Johnny
you
football.
taking
Wait, who did you take for Monday Night Football? The Texans or the Steelers?
I say it's going to be a very close game. And I say that the Texans will win off a field goal.
You're getting crazy
Real
now.
specific there.
I am. It's going to be a tie. It's going to be a hard roundabout.
In Pittsburgh? This is in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick the Seahawks and Denver.
And for Monday night.
I hate Pittsburgh, but I'm going to pick them. It's a
All
very
right,
bad
Thaddeus.
town for me.
You said Pittsburgh, and you said Seahawks, and you said Denver. Me and Stef Z are rolling together on this one.
I like it. I like the way you think it.
Now, me and
I-
Christina are usually on the same page, so.
I think the 49ers played really well tonight. I have a lot higher hopes for them than I did at the beginning of the season.
But
At Mile High Stadium, I just and
You know if they win, all he's
I'm
gonna talk
sorry.
about
is real
Yes,
thin.
and for
That
the
air is
fact
thin.
and for the major fact that Demarius Thomas is on my team, my fantasy team.
So
So
you pick-
I'm taking the Broncos.
Okay.
And obviously the Seahawks. I would love to pick the Rams, but I just don't see, like Bram said, the Seahawks got embarrassed by the Cowboys, and they probably
They
are going to come out
pissed.
and whoop some butt, Bless you.
God bless you.
And then
Monday night?
I'm taking the Texans. Honestly, I think that Ryan Fitzpatrick has been playing really well,
Ha!
connecting with his
Is he gonna shave his-
receivers.
Him and his mustache.
His beard?
Man, he
That
has like a
beard is-
freaking,
Yeah.
like the
Serious.
handlebar Harley Davidson kind
Does he
of.
live in Silver Lake?
I don't know. Does he?
Silver
Nobody
Lake
else-
or
yeah.
Wait, arm
West
wrestle.
Virginia or something.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I want to go with the Texans on this one. So,
All right, sweet.
Yeah. Me too.
Bram, tell everyone where they can find you. Tell your Twitter handle.
Yes, my Twitter handle is at Bram Hoo, H-O-O. My last name's Hoover, so Bram Hoo. That's my Twitter, Instagram, Bram83. All the information about the movie is on 23blast.com.
Great, and it comes out October 24th.
Yes, that's right.
Steph, where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Stef Z with an F.
Kevin.
I'm Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Kevin John, and please read my newest blog. It is called Legion of Boom, Clearly Overrated, and you can find that on sportsrants.com or on my website www.itskevinjohn.com.
Thaddeus.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tina Cap. Thank you so much, Bram, for being here.
Thanks for coming, man.
Bram.
Truly
you, Bram.
enjoyed your input, and we can't wait to see the movie.
Thank you.
And we'll catch y'all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.